Okay, picture this. You stumble across a key, but it's not to any lock you've ever seen.
Uh-huh.
It's like it unlocks a language lost to time, a message whispered from a forgotten world.
That's a good way to put it.
We're diving into a world of history's most baffling inscriptions and codes, those enigmatic puzzles that have stumped people for centuries.
Right, from the get-go.
Our mission today, to unearth the really fascinating stories hidden within these unsolved mysteries.
Absolutely.
To figure out why they still capture our imaginations the way they do.
Yeah, they really do have this hold on us, don't they?
We're going to be exploring excerpts from Crack the Code, history's most baffling inscriptions and enigmatic codes.
Great book, full of intriguing stuff.
I think for anyone listening who loves to learn, like we do, this goes way beyond just cool trivia.
Oh, for sure.
It's about the possibility of rewriting history.
Right.
Unlocking knowledge that we didn't even know existed.
Totally.
And those moments when a puzzle piece clicks into place, those aha moments.
Yeah, those are the best.
And think about it, these aren't just dusty relics in a museum.
No.
They could be direct lines to our ancestors.
That's what's so amazing about them.
We've had amazing successes like the Rosetta Stone.
Oh, yeah, the Rosetta Stone, the classic example.
It cracked the code of Egyptian hieroglyphs, but then you have the ultimate head-scratcher.
Yeah.
The Voynich manuscript.
Still a mystery.
It's stubbornly resisting any kind of interpretation.
The thing that gets me right away is just how many of these unsolved puzzles are out there.
It's mind-boggling, right?
It's not just a handful of curiosities, you know? We're talking countless inscriptions and codes scattered all over the globe throughout history. They've just defied any attempt to understand them.
Each one is like a voice that's been silenced.
Exactly. A story waiting to be told.
A potential narrative from a lost civilization or a hidden chapter from one we thought we knew.
It's a bit overwhelming when you think about it.
It really is.
All those stories just waiting to be told.
It makes you wonder what we're missing out on.
Yeah, what don't we know?
So let's dig into the mechanics a bit.
Yeah, let's.
What makes cracking these codes so incredibly difficult?
Well, at its core, decipherment is about reconstructing a system of meaning.
Okay.
And Crack the Code, this book.
Yeah.
It lays out several challenges that are all kind of intertwined.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe the most fundamental one is context.
Context.
If you don't have a solid grasp of the historical, cultural, even geographical background of an inscription, it's like trying to decode a message in a bottle without knowing what ocean it came from.
Yeah, or when it was even sent.
Exactly. You're just adrift.
I get it. Context is key, but can you give us a more concrete example of how a lack of it can really throw everything off?
Sure. Imagine archaeologists find this spiral symbol.
A spiral?
Yeah, recurring spiral symbol on ancient tools.
Okay.
They're unearthed at a particular settlement.
Okay.
Now, later on, other digs revealed that this same community had elaborate burial rituals involving circular movements.
Interesting.
And they believed in cyclical time.
Okay, so a very cyclical worldview.
Right? So suddenly we might start to think, maybe that spiral wasn't just decoration.
Right.
Maybe it had a deeper meaning.
Like a symbolic meaning.
Exactly connected to their beliefs about life and death.
I see.
But without that broader archaeological, anthropological context, the spiral is just a visually interesting shape.
So it's like needing the backstory to understand the punchline.
That's a great way to put it.
We need the context to give the symbols meaning.
Exactly.
So beyond knowing where and when, what else do we absolutely need?
Linguistic analysis is crucial. You can't do without it. If you're familiar with known languages and writing systems from around the same time period and geographic area, that can give you really important clues.
Like what?
Well, you might see similarities in the shapes of individual symbols.
Uh-huh.
Or notice recurring patterns in how they're arranged.
Okay.
And that might echo grammatical structures in languages we already understand.
So it's about recognizing familiar faces in a crowd?
Exactly. You're trying to find those linguistic family resemblances.
Even if they're separated by a lot of time.
Right. Even across vast stretches of time.
If we know what language families were around in the area when the inscription was made, we can start looking for potential relatives even if the language itself is gone.
It's a bit like detective work, isn't it?
It really is. Crack the Code also emphasizes that we need a multi-pronged approach.
Oh, yeah. A multidisciplinary approach is essential.
It takes a village.
You could say that. It's rare that one person can crack the code all alone.
Right.
You need archaeologists who dug up the artifact.
Okay.
And they can provide those crucial contextual details from the site.
Makes sense.
You need linguists specializing in ancient languages and scripts, historians who understand the societal trends, and increasingly even computer scientists.
Oh, wow.
They bring powerful analytical tools to the table.
So each field offers a unique perspective on the problem.
Exactly. They each have their own lens.
And sometimes those perspectives combine to create a breakthrough.
Yeah, sometimes a seemingly insignificant detail that an archaeologist noticed can unlock a whole new avenue of linguistic inquiry.
It's like assembling a super brain with different specializations all focused on the same puzzle.
I like that, a super brain.
And speaking of brains, the book talks about how technology is really changing the game.
It's a game changer for sure.
What's happening?
Powerful computers and sophisticated algorithms are giving researchers incredible new capabilities.
Really?
Especially in artificial intelligence and machine learning. These tools can process huge amounts of data.
Oh.
They can identify subtle patterns and statistical anomalies in unknown scripts.
So things humans might miss.
Exactly. And they can compare them against massive databases of known languages and symbols.
That's amazing.
Things that would take human researchers forever.
So it's like giving code breakers a sixth sense.
Digital sixth sense. That's a great way to put it.
I also found it interesting that collaboration in this field extends beyond just the academics.
Oh, absolutely. The internet has been huge for this.
In what way?
It's democratized information and fostered a whole new era of collaborative decipherment.
So more people are involved.
Yeah, and some valuable insights have come from enthusiastic amateurs.
Really?
They bring fresh perspectives and different skills to the table.
So sometimes a fresh pair of eyes is all it takes.
Exactly. Sometimes someone without years of ingrained assumptions can see a pattern that the specialists have overlooked.
I see.
Plus, researchers and citizen scientists from all over the world can share data and theories online.
So it becomes a global effort.
It really does.
It can be a formal team effort or informal, just people coming together online.
Right, a real mix.
And sometimes this collaboration can span generations.
People building on each other's work year after year.
Now, the book also hints that sometimes you need to take a step back and look at these inscriptions from a whole new angle.
Yeah, you got to think outside the box.
What do you mean?
Well, there's this fascinating idea of artistic interpretations.
Artistic interpretations.
Yeah, sometimes the key to understanding an inscription might not be just in the linguistic structure, but also in the visual elements.
Okay.
The way the symbols are drawn, their arrangements, any accompanying illustrations,
Right.
all of that could have symbolic meaning.
Give me an example.
Think about the swirling patterns on the Festos disc.
Oh, yeah. Those are cool.
Are they just decorative,
Right?
or do they convey information in a non-linguistic way? Maybe if we consider the aesthetics and those recurring visual motifs, it could open up whole new avenues of interpretation.
It's like we're too focused on reading them like text.
Exactly.
And we might be missing a whole visual language.
It's a possibility.
Crack the code.
Yay.
Even meant as a really out there idea, dream analysis.
Yeah, that's a pretty unconventional approach.
So how would that even work?
Well, the thinking is,
Yeah.
when our conscious logical mind gets stuck, maybe our subconscious can process the visual and structural information in new ways.
Okay.
And that could lead to a sudden flash of insight.
A eureka moment.
Yeah, but it's definitely not mainstream. And its scientific validity is debatable.
But it shows how desperate and creative people get when they hit a wall with these mysteries.
People will try anything.
Speaking of hitting walls, let's shift gears a bit.
Okay.
Let's talk about some of the biggest breakthroughs in decipherment.
Yeah, the success stories.
And the people who made them happen.
Right.
Jean-Francois Champollion and the Rosetta Stone are the classic example.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. A landmark achievement.
Can you remind us what happened?
So Champollion successfully deciphered the Rosetta Stone in 1822.
Okay.
It was a turning point not just for Egyptology, but for the whole field of decipherment.
Why was that?
Because the Rosetta Stone had the same decree inscribed in 3 different scripts.
Okay.
Hieroglyphic, Demotic, and Ancient Greek.
And they knew Ancient Greek.
Exactly, and that was the key.
Because
it gave them the phonetic values of the hieroglyphs.
So they could finally understand what the hieroglyphs were saying.
Precisely. An entire civilization's written records were suddenly accessible.
That's huge.
It was like finding the instruction manual to a vast, silent machine.
Wow.
We gained so much knowledge about their history, their beliefs, their royal lineages.
It must have been like a flood of information.
It fundamentally changed our understanding of the ancient world.
The book also mentions ongoing efforts to decipher other scripts.
Right.
Specifically, the Indus Valley Civilization script.
Yes.
And the Phaistos disc.
2 tough nuts to crack.
What makes them so challenging?
They each have their own obstacles.
Okay.
The Indus Valley script that was used by this highly advanced civilization thousands of years ago, but it has a relatively small number of distinct symbols.
Okay.
And the inscriptions we found are usually very short.
Not much to work with.
And crucially, we don't have any bilingual texts like the Rosetta Stone.
Right, so nothing to give us a direct translation.
Exactly. And we still don't know for sure what language family it belongs to.
So it's a real mystery.
Now, the Phaistos disc.
Yeah, the Phaistos disc.
That's a one-of-a-kind artifact, a clay disc with these unique stamped symbols.
I've seen pictures that are arranged in a spiral.
Right, and because it's unique, we don't have other inscriptions using the same script.
So no comparative material.
Which is usually essential for finding patterns and repetitions.
I see.
And we don't have much archaeological context for it either.
So it's really isolated?
Totally.
Oh, yeah.
Which makes it incredibly difficult to interpret.
Okay, so each of these puzzles has its own missing pieces.
And its own unique challenges.
And speaking of head-scratchers, let's talk about the Voynich manuscript.
The Voynich manuscript in a league of its own.
It really is.
Crack the Code describes it as this illustrated codex.
Okay.
Dating back to the early 15th century.
Okay.
And it's full of the most peculiar and detailed illustrations you can imagine.
Give me some examples.
There are pictures of plants that don't match any known species. Yeah, and astronomical charts showing constellations that don't align with any known celestial bodies.
So things that shouldn't exist.
It's like looking into an alternate reality, and then there's these bizarre biological illustrations.
What do you mean by biological?
Like anatomical drawings, but they're just utterly baffling. And of course, there's the script itself.
Right, the writing.
A completely unknown system that has defied all attempts at decipherment for centuries.
It's crazy that it's lasted this long.
It's a testament to how strange it is.
And you'd think it's just gibberish, but it has a consistent structure.
Right, which suggests it means something.
But we just don't know what.
The meaning remains a total mystery.
It sounds like something out of a fantasy novel.
It really does.
And then the book throws in this really wild idea that it might be a hoax.
The hoax theory.
Yeah, why would anyone go to such lengths to create a fake manuscript?
That's the thing that makes it so intriguing.
Because it's so much work.
Exactly. The sheer volume of text and the intricate detail of the illustrations. It would have taken so much time and effort.
Right.
People who believe the hoax theory often point to the fantastical nature of the illustrations.
Like the impossible plants and the weird astronomical charts.
Exactly. And the fact that the script doesn't seem to have any discernible linguistic structure.
So it doesn't match any known language patterns.
Right. So the question becomes, was this an elaborate prank?
Okay.
Maybe meant to fool some wealthy collector? Or is there another explanation that we haven't even thought of yet?
It's a fascinating question.
It really is.
So we've explored this world of unsolved inscriptions and codes.
Yeah, we've gone on quite a journey.
What's the key takeaway you think our listeners should leave with?
One of the things the book really emphasizes is that trying to decipher these remnants of the past is as much about the journey as the destination.
I like that.
Even when we can't fully understand a lost language or code, every attempt, every hypothesis, every dead end, it all deepens our understanding of human history and how people have expressed themselves throughout time.
So it's not just about the answer.
No.
It's about what we learn along the way.
Exactly. It shows us the ingenuity, the creativity, the drive to communicate and leave a mark.
So even in failure, there's something to be gained.
Absolutely. There's learning and a greater appreciation for how complex the past is.
It reminds us that our understanding of history is always evolving.
It's not static. It's constantly being shaped and reshaped.
By new discoveries and new ways of interpreting things.
Right, and each of these unsolved mysteries has the potential to rewrite parts of our shared story.
And as we wrap up our deep dive into these baffling inscriptions and ancient codes, it's clear that the world of unsolved historical mysteries is vast.
It's huge.
And full of possibilities.
Who knows what we'll discover next?
It really makes you think.
It does.
Imagine being the one to finally unlock the meaning of one of these ancient secrets.
Can you imagine?
What lost knowledge would we uncover?
What new perspectives would emerge?
And what would it tell us about ourselves? About humanity's long and intricate story?
That's something for you, the listener, to think about.
Definitely.
Maybe dive a little deeper into some of these examples.
Yeah.
What theories intrigue you the most?
What patterns do you see?
Maybe you'll be the one to crack the code.
Maybe you will.